To get out of our security woes as a country, state police has been suggested as the most effective option. More and more prominent Nigerians are lending credence to that call. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo is canvassing creation of state police to tackling rising insecurity in the country. Obasanjo said the creation of state police will be a better option than community policing. Meanwhile, a presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, Peter Obi, said serial leadership failure is responsible for security problems and other woes bedeviling the country. State police is coming up again, and former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
I'm happy that a former general, or still a general, a former military head of state, whose, shall we say, orientation is command and control, centralization of command and control, is now coming with the argument that we need to have to decentralize, because that's what it means to have state police or even local government police. I grew up seeing local government policemen in their khaki. And then side by side there was also the Nigeria police with their grey top and their black trousers. I remember, at least in primary school, seeing them. Before all of a sudden, I just discovered that I never saw those khaki again. What we now started seeing was what they called Nigeria police. Nigeria police was so, we as little kids, we saw them from a far distance. We didn't think we had any business with them. The local government police, they were the ones that were arresting tax dodgers. Yes. You know, you don't pay your tax, they're the ones who will pick you up. They were the ones doing certain things. And they were usually headquartered in the local government headquarters. Yes. That was where we were, and you saw them. Police didn't, but when they talk about CID, that was when we now started hearing, because I had a primary school friend whose father was head of CID. You know, so when they came to school, we saw his father. He never wore uniform. You know, so it was a category of offences that the Nigeria police was running after. You know, and I like to think that if we get it right, if we begin to have state police, even local government police, we decentralize, I think we are on the road to getting a more secure. See what happened, was it last year, November, when the IG and the Minister of Justice sent a squad of Nigerian police to Magodo Estate. And see that cocky deputy chief inspector talking to the governor. Governor was saying, please call your boss. He said, no, you have to call my boss yourself. To a governor, quite in the open, displaying utter disregard for the office of the governor of Lagos State. Don't you know that if anybody from the federal system comes to visit Lagos State, the first port of call is to see the governor? That means even though you and I know that it's a lie to call the governor's chief security officer out of their state, because Nigerian Constitution says when the governor gives orders to the commissioner of police, the commissioner of police is obliged to ask the president whether he should obey the instruction or not. But whatever happens, we need to have some form of regard for ourselves at the local level. I'm happy, like I said, that somebody who grew up on a diet of centralized authority is now talking about let's have decentralized policing. And I think I understand his argument that state policing is not the same as community policing, because it is now the federal government, the federal police, that is now attempting, with all these PCRC, police community relations, those kind of things. That's what it's all about. It's not statutory, and there is no autonomy on the part of this local something. I'm sure you know, even RRS in Lagos State, it may be financed, it may be supported by the, but ultimately,
it's not being controlled.
It's not being controlled.
Julie, we've been talking about this, but the administration of Muhammadu Buhari has not minced word about not being interested in implementing this. So we can as well say that maybe after this administration, that's when we can agitate and get or tax those who are coming to please help us implement this. But for this government, I don't think they're interested in that word, state police.
No, Mr. President is not interested, and I think even the National Assembly members have seen his body language, and during the constitutional amendment debates and all that, they didn't show any seriousness. They didn't want it. All they were trying to do was strengthen community policing. Community policing can only take you up to a point. There's a level that community policing cannot take you beyond. So, state police has become inevitable. It is an idea whose time has come. We may keep denying the extent of the problem that we face. We may keep brushing state police aside, but I can tell you that the way things are going, the whole world can see that the current federal policing structure cannot take us out of the woods in terms of security. And I'm happy that more and more Nigerians, more and more people are seeing the need now to go for state police. Even the governor of Kaduna State, Malam Erufai, said the other day that state police has become inevitable. You can't achieve much under this centralized policing structure because it's just not working. And if something is not working, then we've got to try something different. Life is dynamic. There's no reason for us to be rigid, especially when being rigid has not helped us to solve the problems that we face. Look at the other day, Boko Haram went to Yobe State and slaughtered hotel guests. Yes, just on this back, slaughtered hotel guests. What's the meaning of that? You go into an hotel, just slaughter the guests there, and then move to a school, set the school ablaze. That's Gaydam, Yobe State. The frustration of governors. You had my interview with the governor of Taraba State. Said, "I'm here. I'm not in control." That people will say, "Oh, we'll give them state police. They are going to abuse it. They are going to do this. They are going to do that." We can't keep blackmailing ourselves
because of the limitations.
Because of the fear. The fear that we have that, oh, they are going to use this against political opponents. People will ask that the federal police, do they not sometimes use it against political opponents? So we can't live perpetually in that fear. In the US, even schools have their own police. At the level of counties, they have police. Look at the New York police during the COVID. You know, a lot of them contracted COVID, and the policing structure in New York almost collapsed. So if the states had their police over there.
More than 14,000 police departments.
So what are we talking about? We've just got to ask ourselves, how much longer can we carry on with a policing structure that clearly is not in tandem with the times and clearly is not delivering the goods? What are we even talking about? The present federal police structure, it is largely funded by the states.
Yes, because if it's left,
look at the extent.
How much they release?
Governor Sanwo-Olu the other day, you saw how many equipment of different types that he donated to the police. In excess of 1 billion naira.
Yeah.
We've seen Dangote donate cars, sedans, to the
All
police.
over.
In fact, you see Dangote's cars everywhere, whether you are in Abuja or everywhere. You even ask yourself, is he the one who bought all the vehicles that they have? That's the way states are funding the army, they are funding the police. They cannot survive without doing it because they can see the big infrastructure gap. The states are helping to close that gap already. So if they have their own police, of course they'll be able to provide what they need.
Okay.
When people say, oh, people cannot pay salaries, they are talking about police. They ignore the fact that it is these states that are buying the patrol vans, patrol vehicles that the police are using. Police DPOs, what is the interest of a police DPO? It's not up to 50,000. Yes. Except if they change it tomorrow. Because I've seen very big police people tell me that, look, impressed for a DPO. Sometimes you don't even get it. You enter their police stations, you see some of their vehicles already without tires, disused vehicles all over. If not for the funding coming from states, the assistance from states, I'm wondering how even the police, the so-called federal police, will be able to cope. Look at the security trust fund that the Lagos State instituted. With it, corporate concerns are able to make patrol vans and other equipment, bulletproof vests and other available to the police. So that should tell you that if these states can go this far in helping the police, in stabilizing the police, that if you give them the mandate to form their own police, they'll be able to harm their police sufficiently. A state like Lagos, for example, with all the resources that are available to add the population, you cannot continue to rely on the federal police to solve all our problems.
And for the fact that we're even the way it is, the structure right now, the country is under policed. You can imagine Lagos with over 20 million people, and you're talking about less than 50,000 policemen to.
I just don't. I think some people just don't want. It's not just the president, and I think the president is probably representing some interests. Because I remember I was shocked in 2020 when this idea of Amotekun was being mooted in the Southwest, that somebody that I consider to be a very, very serious progressive from the North, former governor of Kaduna State, late Balarabe Musa, was speaking against it vehemently, and he was saying that by wanting to introduce Amotekun, it means the Southwest wants to break out of Nigeria. I thought that was a very rash conclusion.
So have they broken out?
Have they broken out now? And I was listening to Babajide, was it on Thursday or Friday, on this program, I was watching on Friday. And he said something, that have you observed that the Southwest seems to be the safest place in Nigeria right now?
It is.
Don't you think that the Amotekun, even though they are not well provisioned for, seem to be doing something, deterring, because at least there's going to be a response if you do anything in the Southwest.
Yes.
They are
very effective in Ondo.
Yes.
In Osun, they're very effective.
There will be a response. So, and I think, don't we like that? I love that I'm secure in my house. I can go out, I'm sure that nobody, because even though we talk about, the bandits or the terrorists or the Boko Haram go to rural areas, we've heard of urban guerrillas too. We've heard of urban terrorists, so there's nothing wrong in having a state police. Even I would dare add, even local government police. I have lived in a city where even the university has its own police.
Yeah.
Peter is calling us from Jalingo, that's Taraba State. Thank you, Peter. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
About the insecurity we're having. They say that a person that is on the ground doesn't fear fall anymore. You see, we have gotten, hello?
Yes, Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, we are getting to a point that we need to put every option on the table. Because, okay, at the point here, we need this police seriously. And our president has not, he has not telling us the point to convince us that state police cannot work. You see, at this point here, we have gotten to a point that even the constitution of this country, if we amend in a week, is enough for us to amend the constitution to accommodate anything that we need to survive at this point. But I feel that our leaders are not feeling what they are feeling. That's why they are so less concerned about what is happening to us. You see, but this government has failed us because we all hope that this government has to put the security in check. We are not getting enough from them. I
Thank you, Peter.
see any good.
Thank you for your contribution. Jire, now the presidential aspirant on the platform of People's Democratic Party, Mr. Peter Obi, said serial leadership failure is responsible for the security problems and other woes bedeviling the country.
Yes, it's right. Look, if we have good governance, it will rub off on so many things. Education will improve. More and more people will have access to education. The economy will improve. And when the economy improves, even the number of criminals will go down. You go to some countries, corruption has largely been defeated because you know that the safety nets already put in place will make it difficult for you to be corrupt. And if you are corrupt, you cannot escape being sanctioned. You can't escape going to jail. Look at Norway, for example. The day I spoke about it, someone was watching me and he thought I was lying. He now went, checked, used the search engine, checked what I said, and got back to me through WhatsApp that you are right. Norway, their prisons, they don't have people for their prisons. It has now reached a point that other countries like Spain, they are sending prisoners. Help us keep these prisoners.
What a country.
Because Norway is building 5-star prisons, complete with golf courses. You have your grill machine, you have everything, and there are no people are not there.
A lot of prisoners in Nigeria.
What are you going? Why will you take to a life of crime when government is alive to its responsibilities? The government provides your needs, but you pay your tax. They don't joke with tax payment. The punishment in some European countries for not paying tax is bigger than manslaughter. It's bigger than the punishment for manslaughter. But the things that we praise governments for, they provided water, is taken for granted over there.
Basic thing.
I said their prisons are empty. You see prison, you can't even believe, because the lawns are manicured and you see a grill machine, everything that the guy needs in his own chalet is there, and he's supposed to be in prison.
And he has access to knives. He has access to knives. He has a kitchen.
Yes, he has a kitchen. No, but why will he take his own life? He knows that he will soon be out. Yes, he will soon be out and will enjoy life. So those countries, some of those Scandinavian countries, they get you to realize that, look, if they provide good leadership, good governance, the people will not take to crime. The people too will feel proud and they will give their best to their country. All that it requires for Nigeria to improve is good leadership. We are a dynamic people. We are among the best people in the world. Everywhere you see Nigerians outside of here, they are excelling. You see products of our universities. As much as we demonize our universities, you see products of our universities going abroad and doing very well. So leadership will prove to be the difference maker. And I've said it before at some events, that if we can have 3 cycles 3 electoral cycles in succession produce good leaders for us,
Honestly.
we have solved the problem of leadership.
Yes. Back to back.
And for that to happen, our votes must count. Not when somebody can sit down somewhere and imagine that he can rig election, whether we vote for him or not. When the power rests with the ordinary man, he can kick away bad leaders. And as a result of that, those other people will know that they have to sit up.
Yes,
because
they're waiting for another 4 years because they know that
they don't work for people, they will sweep you out of office.
The party.
So everybody
vote out the party,
yes,
not performing party.
Yes. So that's the way it should be. And it's not a matter of somebody imposing somebody. No. Jerry Rawlings, as much as Ghanaians loved him, when he wanted to bring somebody, did they not vote against his candidate?
Yes, yes.
He's their hero, but they voted against his candidate.
Yes. Ada is calling us from Jos, Plateau State.
Hello, Ada, calling from Jos, Plateau State.
Hello, Ada.
Hangout.
Thank you for joining us, Ada.
How are you doing now?
Not bad, though. You know what? What I don't understand is this. Can't we practice fiscal federalism? Must we wait for things to deteriorate or whatever, situation to deteriorate before we start practicing it? Because if we have been doing the right thing with what you call true federalism, all these state police will be taken care of, decentralization of power and what do you call it, then they are our leaders. When they leave office, that's when they will now be saying, yes, we should have state police. I'm sure Buhari that is saying that it's not an option. Maybe when he leaves office now, he will say we should have state police. That's the problem we have. Bad leadership. God bless you. Let's not joke about this country. It's really unfortunate. I don't know if they're talking about abuse by governors. Why can't they put mechanism in place to check them? The federal police, is it not being abused? Is it not being abused, or they want to have monopoly of abuse? Let them let them kill all of us. Then they will now accept state police.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you for your contribution. What Governor Peter Obi is saying here is that is, serial leadership failure is responsible for the security problems we've had.
You see, Ayo, you asked Babajide a question, and I want to try and attempt to answer the question too. Say, what do we do? How do we get out of this bind that we find ourselves? And he said, let's have back-to-back 3 roles of good governance, and then we are out. Now, people keep saying that the Southwest or the old Western Nigeria is the bedrock of progressive politics in Nigeria. Do you know why? Education, that free education is the basis of that. Because if I can read and write, if I can ask questions and say, wait a minute, why should I have to, tolerate whatever it is, your excesses, because those who made a case for the American democracy, the philosophers, the political philosophers of Europe, who are thinking that we need to, in America, these experiments that we want to start, let's have a democracy without a king. Now, their major argument is that the electorate, the citizenry, must be educated before they can run this democracy, before they can interrogate manifestos, before they can query politicians, before they can ask questions, before they can even comply. You understand? You saw what last year the January 6th invasion of America's Congress. You saw the role of the CNN. It stood up. I like to think that CNN is the hero of that January 6th thing, that they overwhelmed the negative forces because it was, as far as I was concerned, a coup against the American state. Because you have enough people, a critical mass of people who are educated, who understand the principles of democracy, that you have to stand by those values of democracy so that you can maintain and retain democracy for the people. We don't have that here. Our people kowtow very quickly. Once somebody comes, and then, in any case, part of this is that there has to be a modicum of financial stability for the individual. Because if you are going to have to give me a bag of rice, or 500 naira before I can vote for you. You already got me. The poverty will overwhelm me. I hope you remember that one of the reasons that Nigerian Labour Congress is having issues calling out strike is because those workers, if they don't work for one day, they will starve. They will starve.
And they can't sustain 2-3 days
They can't
without...
Exactly. So those are the things. So we need to...
all this, road transport
workers.
Yes.
By the time it's
No,
the
the-
and you
second
need
day.
them to enforce it.
Yes,
Yeah.
now.
The
Second,
welder-
third day, even by 4 p.m. Back on
they
the
are
street.
tired, yes. Because they are, by the time they get
They
home
live
and
for the day.
and the wife says, how now? And you now say, don't you know we went on strike? Then you will point to your children and say, what are these? Is it strike that they are going to eat? So I think we need to get ourselves to the position where we have massive education. Let's even start with the primary school. How can you have 13.5 million Nigerian kids roaming the streets?
Okay, we have Samuel from Abuja. Thank you for joining us, Samuel.
Hello.
Yes. Thank you for joining
Hello,
us.
can you hear me?
I can hear you, Samuel. You're live.
Okay. Well done, all the gentlemen there.
Thank you.
Babajide, I thank him so much.
Thank you.
And every one of you, other ones that are there. I want to thank Babajide, especially for giving me a very good information this afternoon concerning what he said about electricity we are generating to 2 countries, the Republic of Benin and the other people. From the time I'm not so old now, up till now, people have been telling us that look at Nigeria is distributing and bringing power to 2 countries when we don't have any. That's what they are doing. I am about 57 years now of age. I have never had this. Only this afternoon I had this. Very interesting to me. And that's why I called to thank him for the information he has given to me.
Thank you.
Especially. Because this thing has been there. And when you tell people, they say, no, don't worry. It is Nigeria, you are sending it to them. But look at the information the man, Babajide, has just given now. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Oga.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Babajide.
That's why you
for
must
giving
not
that.
miss
Yes,
our program.
that's why you must keep watching. Because that has been the fallacy that from time that we give power, we don't have power, we give
they
to
are
this,
giving people.
we give to that. You know, nobody will ever.
If they dam it, so where are you going to say water? If they dam it up there, no access. No access. So
it's better they dam it here and we'll share.
once they dam it upstream, you will not have the water. You won't have it. At least you won't have enough that
will generate.
Yes.
And they don't
you
have
can
the
use for
financial
hydroplant.
muscle to dam it to supply us.
At that time, it wasn't even in their plans.
That's right.
It wasn't in their plan. The person who dams it has already placed himself in a vantage position. You know, that's why you see 2 countries struggling for control of the Nile River, because once this other person has dammed it upstream, then they won't have access. They may even need it for irrigation process purposes, but once you've dammed it, the access to it has been grossly limited. They may not want to do a dam, maybe just irrigation. Egypt, as a country, is struggling to access water. Egypt had to call farmers that, look, de-emphasize growing of rice. That's how we became #1 rice producer in Africa. Go for wheat. Wheat does not need as much water as rice. Government had to discourage farmers in Egypt to give up rice farming in exchange for wheat because of the problem of water. Because rice needs water a lot. So this is the water that we have that we take for granted in our country that we are wasting away. If you see my video from the Mambila story, you see that pressure, the pressure of the water. Even where you are, you will be scared.
Yes.
The pressure. Pressure that moved a big stone from one point to another. That was a big stone. It moved it over time from that point to where it now sits. Because that pressure, man, just wasting away. If some people had that, they'll be able to do a lot.
And that's where we propose to build.
Yes, there are 3 dams in the area. Well, that's the main one. And the project, if only we would do it, the project area is more than 5 times the size of Lagos. Yes. It's cutting across like 5 local governments in Taraba. Taraba is the 3rd largest state in our country. You can remove many Lagos from Taraba. But the project is just wasting. People see me, they call me, when are they going to start Mambila? I don't have the answer.
I remember when we did that special report.
Yes.
We thought that was going to quicken the process.
That's Nigeria. So that's part of what Peter Obi was saying. There's no doubt that we've not been blessed over time with the right kind of leadership in our country. This is a country that is so blessed. We have mineral resources, virtually every mineral resource we have. But look at where we are. We shouldn't be where we are. We shouldn't be where we are. If a country like Egypt is in position now to sell electricity to Europe, we say we are giant of Africa. We should be doing much more than that. You know?
Lincoln, for the next election, I expect that this should be talking points. Instead of, rice and gari and souvenirs.
500 naira.
This should be the questions we should ask from these people.
And I think, you certainly have a point there, which also, buttresses my earlier points that electorate, a discerning electorate, a questioning electorate, an electorate that queries and say, what is in it for me? Listen, some people, I have started having second thoughts about the idea of stomach infrastructure that the former governor of Ekiti State, because I thought it was sinister, but later I now started thinking, the Americans have what they call American dream. It's the same thing. It's like there has to be a house, a roof over my head. There has to be food for my family. There has to be a car. Those are basic things, about 4 or 5 basic things that go with this. If we can redefine the content of this stomach infrastructure that Fayose is talking about, and then find a way to get it across to every citizen of Nigeria. Let's not call it Nigerian dream. Let's call it stomach infrastructure for this purpose. Because it's a very simple. It's a simple language to use.
It will become a joke also.
Or whatever name you want to call it.
Yeah.
But the point is that the material that we need, materiality, food, clothing, shelter, transportation, security, accommodation. Let's close to where. Let's have those basic things. Education of our children, access to medicals. Tommy Segogi, who used to be managing director of Transcorp, argued sometime. He gave a lecture sometime in 2003 or 2002. He said it is not about corruption. That if you keep saying you want to kill corruption, you are wasting your time. Run the economy right. Run it well. Just as Lagide was saying, run the economy in such a way that everybody gets basics. Now, if you are hardworking, you can become a billionaire. You then have your luxury. That's your business. As long as my own basic is coming to me, I'm not going to begrudge you. Maybe I will befriend you. Maybe you will be kind to me and give me bestow onto me some of the things you have. But my life is, provisioned for, provided for. And I think that's where we need to.
We hope our people, they are wiser now, and things we put into consideration to voting our leaders. What we did in 2015 and 2019. We just have to watch.
People are giving up. They don't want. Once you come to them to campaign, they will tell you to give them something, because they believe that by the time you get to office, you will not remember them. So they want it now.
They're so impoverished.
Yeah, hunger has a way of resetting brains. Hunger resets brains negatively. So they tell you, bring it now. Don't tell us stories. All this campaign, you will not do it. You will not even remember us. You won't pick our calls anymore. And it happens. People get into office, the people who are their foot soldiers who help them to campaign, the moment they get there, they start barring their calls. They'll block them. You can't reach them. No access to them anymore. You know? And that same person will come and rig election. You will bribe party leaders and then rig the main election. So you can't kick him out of office. You know? But with time, once our electoral processes get better, any leader who takes the people for granted will be shown the door. And that's what I pray that day will come. Politicians imagine themselves to be gods of men, but the voters should actually be the god of the politician.